Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're going to be doing 3 more league matches today. The last league, 5 rounds, we ended up going 4-1, which is pretty good, I thought. We really did pretty much great in every round. Starting this one, we're 1 match into this league, and we are 0-1 against an Abzan aggro deck, which I do think is still a poor matchup against us, but I think I'm going to be able to. I just took a look at, well, one of the lists, and I think we should be able to do better against it the next time around. So I just need to bring in more spot removal. I think I confused it with more of an Abzan mid-range deck, and I didn't realize how aggressive it actually is. It's not running like a playset of Wingmate Rock. It is running a playset of Siege Rhino, but I think we compete better against Siege Rhino than we do against Wingmate Rock. I still feel like that card in particular is the bane of this deck's existence. But we do need all the spot removal we can get so we can immediately kill the Warden of the First Tree, which is a big deal for us. We don't have really a lot of ways to deal with that, and it becomes a big problem in the mid-game when it's a 6/6 lifelinker. So, yeah, if you need to know information about this deck, you can watch some other deck tech. Basically, it's just a standard budget blue-red tokens list, as the name suggests. It's a mid-range deck, at least that's how I'm playing it. It has high-impact cards like Pia and Kiran Alar and Whirler Rogue. Vile Aggregate has been phenomenal in this deck, way better than I thought it would play. Sky Spawner is quite good. I like it so far. Quite a bit, and the Thopter Engineers have been good as well. Hangerback's been great. Really no weak aspect of this deck. Even the dig through times have been fantastic. Ghostfire Blades. We've got all this 1-drop spot removal to give us protection against very hyper-aggressive decks. Foundry of the Consoles for a little bit of rebuilding if we're getting flooded. This deck just very resilient, very good. Sideboard options, we've got a lot of counter spells. We've got more removal, counter spells and removal out of sideboard. So I'm really liking how this deck's playing. I feel like it's competing much better than I anticipated it competing. I've made some pretty serious errors in the last 3 videos of this, so I'm hoping I can play a little bit tighter today in League. All right, we'll see you in the matches. Okay, match 1 of the day. We have the choice. This is definitely a keep. Very nice hand, actually. Vile Aggregate into Pia and Kiran Nalar is always good. No earlier plays. Like, this hand would probably be perfect. Well, this hand's fine, but it could be perfect, I think, with 1 piece of spot removal, just to give a little bit of protection against a lot of the decks out there, but this hand is perfectly acceptable. Okay, not sure what we're up against just yet. Sky Spawner is a very good draw too. So now we get to go Aggregate, Pia and Kiran Alar into Sky Spawner, possibly. Green-blue, okay. Okay, looks like the Eldrazi ramp deck. I do feel like this is a pretty good match for us since we have so many counterspells out of the sideboard. Hangerback Walker, that would have been good last turn, but that's okay. Not going to complain. We still have a good hand full of a lot of action, so no problemo. People still definitely confused when they see Vile Aggregate, just because just not a played card. But one I'm still arguing for is good. Surprisingly, not just good in draft. So we got to contend with Whisperwood Elementals and Drowners of Hope, Ugins, which fortunately for us, Ugin, not so good against us, which is rare that card is not good. All right. Let's bust out the old... I could actually bust out Sky Spawner and Walker, but no. We're going to do good old Pia and Kiran. And then we swing for 3. Get our Ingestion on here. Yavimaya Coast. Would have preferred to hit a Whisperwood Elemental there, but that's okay. So now the question is, do we want to go land, Sky Spawner, blow up Leaf Gilder? And I think the answer is yes. Getting this off the board could be relevant. We want to prevent him from casting Ulamog. Or is it Ulamog? Yeah, Ulamog as much as possible. Drowner of Hope we're just going to have to deal with, which is fine. Whisperwood, something we're also going to have to deal with, but I think we do okay against Whisperwood. Drowner of Hope, all right. Did resolve the Drowner. This is still okay. Wild Slash, not bad either. Does present a question. Do we want to use a Thopter rather than Wild Slash? Wild Slash doesn't require us losing a Thopter. That's actually not a bad reason. Especially since it makes our aggregate bigger as well. Well, regardless, let's play land, play the Sky Spawner. Could just play Walker too. So he's at 6 mana. Well, I guess now he's at more with the Scions, right? So he's at 8. He could potentially be at 9 next turn. That's interesting. I think we're just going to swing with the Thopters here. I don't want to trade aggregate for Drowner. So I could kill the Leaf Gilder, which I think is acceptable. Probably okay with that. So let's go Hanger back. We'll kill his ramp. And yes, I could have sacked a Thopter, but I don't think that's necessary. So we can pump Hanger back and launch it at something now, his face, and get a couple Thopters, which probably is going to be the play. And then we can actually swing with aggregate too, I think. I think that's going to be good. We'll get some trample through as well. Ugin's, like I said, really not that bad against us. Yeah. Not that bad against us. I mean, it's not great, admittedly, but it's really not that bad. Okay, so the plan. We can play Whirler Rogue. Yeah, this is gotta be the play here. So we go Whirler Rogue. We can kill, yeah, so we're just going to kill Ugin. So what we do is make this guy unblockable. And then we make this guy unblockable. And then we get in at Ugin for 9 points of damage. Take Ugin out, pass. Puts opponent in a much more difficult position. One very nice thing about our deck, Ugin not that fantastic against us. Nissa is nothing to worry about. You can flip it. Still think we very easily beat Nissa. Just looking for some value here. Got Ulamog off the top. Still quite a bit of ways away from that, right? 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Opponent's not going to have Ugin anytime soon. We're going to let him keep Nissa, I think. At this point, I'm just more concerned about killing my opponent in a couple turns. So I also didn't have to kill Ugin there. Something to keep in mind. What's the morph? The morph is Den Protector? That's the only morph I feel like I know about. So we don't want to play PA and Kieran because we already have one. So I think we just play Thopter Engineer. And it does have haste, but we're just going to make this guy unblockable. Hit Ugin. All right. So opponent does not have Ulamog at their disposal. Just stole Ugin. Nissa's irrelevant. Opponent's got to deal with a big board state in order to get out of this. All right. Got game one. So we want to take out the negates. Pretty irrelevant. We want more spot removal because I guess Roast deals with... That's actually interesting. Roast deals with Drowner of Hope and Whisperwood. Yeah, that's good enough for me. So we're going to bring in the Roast. Excuse me. Went a little hoarse there for a second. And we want these Disdainful Strokes because everything our opponent has, we want to take care of in that way. So let's take out a couple Ghostfire Blades. They just seem irrelevant in this match. Opponents really does not have a solid way to deal with us. I mentioned this before, I don't love the hangerbacks in this match. It's not that they're bad, because they're not bad and they do stuff early. But we don't really want them so much for the long game. We're not really interested in them. They have fantastic synergy with Pia and Kieran and Vile Aggregate if you have the Pia and Kieran, but I feel like we're on the evasive plan. We're on the I'm going to fly over top of all your dudes and kill you that way plan. So really we just want to ensure that we kill all of his important things or counter his important things, as it were. So I could just take out Ghostfire Blades. How bad is that? I think that's fine. We didn't have Ghostfire Blade that match, and we did perfectly fine. Let's drop one Hangerback Walker. And I guess we could go a 2-2 split. I kind of like the spot removal. It just kills the rampers, which he almost assuredly will be using. But I think 6 pieces, maybe, is that excessive? Probably not. Could take out a Sky Spawner, but they fly over top, which I like. I guess we can take out one Sky Spawner. Okay, let's try this out. I think this looks good. We're going to keep this. I see the issue with it, of course. We don't have a blue mana, but we got to keep this hand. This one, whenever you have the aggregate plus the 4-drop that gives your aggregate value, I think that's just a straight up good direction to go most of the time. There's our blue mana. So we're going to have a little bit of difficulty playing the Disdainful Stroke exactly when we want to, but that's okay. All right, I'm kind of hoping he plays a 4-drop here so I can just get the Disdainful out of the way so I can play my guys more easily. Like if he plays Explosive, I'm going to stroke it. Yeah, I think we stroke here. We're not going to be leaving up Disdainful Stroke for a while, so even though that seems like a bad use, we could have just gone the more control route here, but I think this is fine. All right, he gets it anyway. So now I guess I'm hoping I hit a relevant spell here. So I guess we can technically kill Rattleclaw now, but Lumbering Falls, well, to be honest, I wouldn't have cared so much if he drew that. Left Ugin in, which is pretty surprising. See, he probably just kills Pia and Kiran Nalar. And then I'll just play another one. Two cards left in my opponent's hand. That's not what I was expecting. But good move on my opponent's part. Give him credit there. Our hand got bad quick, I gotta be honest. So the question is, do I play Pia and Kiran pre-combat or I just swing everything at Ugin? I guess we just swing everything at Ugin. And then play another Pia and Kiran regardless if he blocks or not. It's essentially doing the same damage, and this way at least we have a chance to get Rattleclaw Mystic off the board. Alright, he did the block we wanted him to do, so I guess that's good news. Next turn we can play Foundry and crack it, which makes our Vile aggregate pretty big. But if he has Drowner, we're in some trouble. Nissa? Sure. So he's going to get Nissa online here. I would like a Whirler Rogue off the top. Rattleclaw Mystic? Sure. Kills another Thopter token. Nah, that's too bad for us. really good for our opponent. So now our opponent's in a pretty fantastic position, to be perfectly frank and honest. Ghostfire Blade, that's not bad. So now the choice is Ghostfire Blade versus Foundry of the Councils. Well, probably Ghostfire Blade, because then we can still use Pia and Kirin Nalar. So let's go Blade, equip Aggregate. So let's say blocks with a Manifesting. Well, 2 cards left in hand. Let's, I do think we still probably need to take out Ugin. I want to take out Nissa too. Take out a lot of things. So I guess, well, we've got some, yeah, we can actually do some things here. I guess we attack Ugin with Aggregate. Well, we want to take out Ugin. Makes this difficult. He's getting the card advantage from Nissa, so I want to take her out as well. Maybe we just swing at Ugin with the Aggregate. So it's a Rattleclaw Mystic. I don't know. Or it's not a Rattleclaw Mystic. I say it's a Manifest. It's not a Morph. Let's attack Ugin with Aggregate. And then we'll attack Nissa with these. I think him getting too much card advantage could definitely be a big deal. So we want to kill Nissa. Get her off the board. Pass. All right, so Rattleclaw Mystic. It's just going to be a 3-2. No, it's just a 2-1. It's just going to be a 2-1. It's not Megamorph. All right, a couple Rattleclaw Mystics. Not a huge deal. Take some damage here. Get some another dude. Disdainful Stroke. Not awful, but not fantastic either. So I'm not going to be able to leave up Disdainful Stroke and use Foundry anyway. So I guess we just play Cliffs. Swing at Ugin. I don't think he's got... I think I'm probably just going to crack the Foundry. And the reason that I'm cracking the Foundry is because my opponent's kind of in top deck mode at the moment. So I'm hoping that last card is not Ulamog, because I do need to deal actual damage to Ugin here, or I'm just never going to keep up. So maybe I do need to just play more of the be more of the control player in this match. It's tough though. It is tough. And this has been talked about by commenters as well. I do tend to run into a lot of situations where I want to leave up a counter spell, but I have to make a play. So maybe in this match it's just smarter to keep up the counters, just get enough mana where I can make a play and leave up a counter. Counter when relevant, basically. No play here would be ideal. All right. So we can crack back for 10 next turn. No, more with the Lumbering Falls. But I'll have 2 blockers with the Foundry. I still can't leave up. Well, that's actually okay. It's not the worst. All right, let's just take Ugin out. So we can activate Lumbering Falls. Which would save Ugin. I basically have to reattach a Ghostfire Blade after I crack the Foundry. So he is saving Ugin, which I think is correct on his part. Uh-oh. What's he using the mana for? Oh, he had another Whisperwood. Bummer. All right. Well, I guess the good news is we kill both. He's losing a Whisperwood either way. That is the good news, but the bad news is we're not in a good place here. Just can't seem to kill Ugin, sadly. So I think he just kills Thopter with Ghostfire Blade equipped. And then we're in some pretty serious trouble here. We're unable to kill Ugin this time around. I guess Whirler Rogue's pretty important in this matchup. But yeah, I guess we have to play more control than I was. But like I said, it's difficult. It's difficult. Opponent's got a lot of powerful spells in there. So losing to Ugin is a bummer, though, because I really feel like it's not that great against us. But we did certainly lose against Ugin this match because we were just trying to play catch-up the whole time. So I think my opponent having the second explosive cost us quite dearly, too. Okay. Plus just got Ugin for days, huh? And then finds Ulamog. All right. I guess that's... I mean, we can counter the Ulamog, but he just has to cast it to Exile, correct? Yeah. So I don't think we can win. Too little, too late. All right. So Ghostfire Blade actually did look good there, but I don't know. And it was a Drowner of Hope you manifested too. Jeez. Still don't like Hangerback all that much. Roast, I definitely think is good here. Gotta be able to deal with stupid Whisperwoods and Drowners. Disdainful Stroke is right. I still like our spot removal. Still feel like our deck's in the right place. I still feel like Hangerback's not that fantastic. It's just something to do early. I like this matchup. I feel like we should just win this matchup. We really should. Our deck is really well geared against him. I could bring in Negates, but it just stops Ugin, which we already have Disdainful Stroke for. It just doesn't make sense to me. It also stops like ramp spells, but that's not good enough. No, I think we do this again. Yeah, we're gonna keep this. Bone Mauls to 6, okay. Oops. I want to make that bigger. So I guess we get to go probably Hangerback into Wild Slash's ramp spell into Aggregate, most likely. No ramp. That's good. Sky Spawner. Well, we want to go Aggregate here. So I guess we swing. So next turn, Sky Spawner plus maybe Wild Slash, depending. So that's a Mystic. So I guess the problem is we can't Sky Spawner plus Wild Slash. So I guess we just Wild Slash. Get in for 2. And I guess we're just going to pump Hangerback. Seems fine. Nissa, sure. So we can roast Nissa, but probably not necessary. I'd rather roast a Whisperwood that's more likely to be coming up. Fourth mana, so guess we want Sky Spawner here. Guess I can still pump Hangerback. Or I can get in for 2 points. I probably want him to get bigger, I guess. Kind of the problem with Hangerback, but when you have the open mana, he's only a 2/2, I guess. Probably makes more sense. Taking Whisperwood out there is fantastic. Opponent could still have another one, but at least we have the out for it. All right, Whisperwood's going downtown. Going downtown. So he can sack Whisperwood in response. It's not a big deal, actually. Roast. So I guess we can just roast Nissa, roast Whisperwood, and swing. That's pretty big. I can save the roast too. I can also go Sky Spawner plus roast, which might just be better. Probably is. Oh, he F6'd, which he did not want to do there. Because he definitely should have sacked the Whisperwood. But then again, I guess, what was he going to do? Block with Nissa and just get a Manifest instead? Might not have been that good. Jeez. That was an Ulamog underneath there, and we got an Ulamog? It's a lot of Ulamogs. Pilgrimage is not going to do it. Even flipping Nissa is just not good enough. All right. Got there. So, like I said, I do feel like this match is favorable for us. I said we're good against Ugin, which is, you know, it's only partially true because Ugin is just such a strong card that even when your deck basically is running all colorless stuff, it's still a good card. It's still lightning bolting every turn and getting bigger, building towards an ultimate that's just insane. So Ugin is still good against us. This deck does a very good job of just putting powerful threats out there like Whisperwood Elemental, which is just phenomenal. Nissa, which is card advantage. I don't think Nissa is that great against us. But we have all these disdainful strokes. We do have pieces of spot removal. So like I said, and all the evasion, which this deck just has no way to deal with evasion at all. It puts bodies on the ground, but nothing that can deal with flyers. So I do feel good in this match. And so far, we're 2-0 against the Eldrazi deck. So good in that matchup, I would say, even though the sample size is small. It just feels like a good match for us. All right, on to match number 2.